Okay. All right. Welcome everyone. This is our first IPT cooking class that we've had. I think Amy said she used to do them a long time ago, but we thought it would just be fun and give you something to do while everyone's stuck at home. So this recipe I'm going to make today is one that my family loves. They actually get excited when I make it. It's called egg roll in a bowl. And when you first look at it, you think, wow, kids aren't going to like this because there's a ton of veggies. But my kids love it. But I'm going to preface that with that they are teenagers. so they're not little kids, but they do love it. And this recipe is super healthy, has a lot of flavor. And often I'll make a big batch of it and I'll just keep it in the fridge and I'll have it for a couple of days in a row for lunch. So if any of you are doing like, low carb, high protein, this is like the perfect meal for you. So we're going to get started. You should have all the ingredients. We did send it out in a link as well. So you can make it for those of you that are watching the recording. You can, you have the recipe and you can make it later. So we're going to start heating avocado oil. Again, I didn't actually have avocado oil. I'm going to use olive oil. You can use any of those good oils. So we're going to start heating that in a pan. I usually use just this big pans. I love these big Cathy's Le Creuset cast iron pans. I use it for everything. They retain their heat really well and things don't usually burn in them. So we're going to start by heating 2 tablespoons of avocado oil or olive oil. So I'm going to use the 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So I'm hoping you guys follow along and you're doing this in your kitchen at the same time. Sarah, I hope you're following, you're doing it too. So we're going to heat 2 tablespoons of oil in there. We're going to add the yellow onion. So I've got an onion here that we're going to cut up. So it's about 1 yellow onion. So this is about a medium onion. And you can do more or less depending on whether you like onion or not. Onion's great. It's a real good liver food, good for liver detox. So I usually add onion to most things in our house. So again, to cut the onion, I just cut the ends off, take the peel off. So that's going to go to the side. And we're just going to chop it. We're going to dice it into small, or actually we're going to dice it. So I am in no way a professional cook. I have not been trained in any way. I just, as a nutritionist, as a mom, and someone who loves to eat healthy, I do cook every day. So, I'm usually not great at following specific recipes, I'll be honest. I'm usually a little bit this, a little bit that kind of person, but I will stick to the recipe this time. So again, I'm just chopping up, I'm dicing a whole onion here. You may have a dicing machine or something else, but all right, so we're gonna get that onion chopped. I'm just gonna get rid of the peel. My grater. All right, so we're gonna put the onion, I'm gonna get the onion in the pan first. And I know that seems like a lot of onion, but onion really cooks down to a lot less, probably about half this. So we're gonna get the onion, the peel, just gonna get that cooking away in the olive oil. The other thing we're going to add to that is, let's see, yellow. We're going to add the green onion. So I did buy some fresh green onion today. I have already washed it. With green onion, it's a great different flavor than just the yellow onion. We're going to get rid of the ends, chop the ends off. And then again, the 5 stalks, we're just going to dice this again. And if you have a really good sharp butcher's knife, this is one of the best things I use to chop it all up. So you want to dice your onion all the way. You can use the entire part of the onion except for that little the bulb part at the end. So we're going to dice the green onion. Garlic. So this is minced garlic. So garlic, some people buy it out of a jar, but I like fresh garlic. So fresh garlic, in case some people don't even honestly never use it, but fresh garlic pressed is the best. So it's 4 cloves of fresh garlic. And again, if you don't use fresh garlic, you can always use, it also comes in like a jar of minced garlic as well. For garlic, so I just took out 4 bulbs of it. I'm kind of chopping off the ends, taking the peel off. Yeah.
If they're doing the minced garlic, do you know how much around, like how 4 cloves? I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot.
No. I would just, as a guess, if you're using minced, maybe like, and honestly, it depends how much you like garlic. I love garlic, so I'd probably do like 2 tablespoons of minced garlic.
Perfect.
And again, it's one of those ingredients that you could use more or less depending on if you're sensitive to garlic, if you like garlic. Garlic is also an amazing liver food as well. So we use a lot of garlic in this house. Some people don't do well with garlic. So again, if you don't like garlic, you don't have to put it in, but we do a lot of garlic in this house. So for the garlic, for mincing it, I use a garlic press here. You can also, if you don't have a press, you could ideally just chop it as well. That would work. So I'm going to press it right into the garlic, into the onions. It's the easiest way. We're just going to press it in. And there, and 2 more to go. So you want to just press your garlic into the pan.
Hey, Cathy.
Yeah.
So I had some extra zucchini and mushrooms that kind of needed to be cooked, and I'm going to be throwing those in.
Yep.
Should I wait until after we cook the meat, or should I do that now?
Let's see. Let me think about that for a second. Should you cook it after?
Is the meat going in with the onion?
Yes, the meat's going with the onions. I would probably wait until after. So it's zucchini and mushrooms?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? So I would do, honestly, I would probably do the mushrooms now with the onions. I would probably do the mushrooms now. And then I would, after we do the meat, you could add in, like when the meat's almost finished cooking, I would add in the zucchini.
Perfect.
I think that's what I would do. And that's not, I know not a perfect answer, but I would think because the mushrooms kind of would go well with the onions cooking. And then the zucchini, you don't want it to be too overcooked. I would rather you just make it like a little bit more steamed. So,
okay.
On that. Yeah, and it's a good point that Sarah has made there, is that if you have extra veggies that you want to put in, like make it into more of a stir fry too, like you can definitely do that. If you, whatever you've got in the fridge, if you want to put broccoli in, cauliflower, anything like that, definitely add them in. Just some of those vegetables need to be cooked a little bit more than others. So we're going to put the green onions in here. Put a little bit of green onions in there too. And the other thing that we're going to put in, this part too, is the ginger. Fresh ginger looks like this. Again, if you're not familiar with buying ginger, sometimes you can buy just the ginger paste. This is calling for 1 tablespoon of peeled and grated ginger. If you're doing ginger paste, probably about the same, about a tablespoon of it. And again, if you like ginger, then I would definitely say, put more in. Ginger's great. It's a great digestive aid as well. So for me, I'm just going to grate this ginger. I've already took some of the peel off the fresh ginger. I just did that. So now I'm just going to grate, kind of just grate the ginger with a really fine grater. And again, if you don't have a grater or anything that's fine, you could definitely just dice it really fine. The thing is, you may get little chunks of ginger when you're eating it, but if you're okay with that, then that's perfectly fine. I love ginger and put it in a lot of things, so I try to keep the fresh on hand. All right, so we've got about roughly a tablespoon of ginger here. So if I were to measure what I just did, kind of like a knob of ginger. And I'm going to add this to the pan. I'm just going to add this to my pan. I'm gonna turn it down. I had it on about medium, but it seems a little bit high right now. We don't want anything to burn. So I've got the fresh ginger. You got a lot of great flavors. You got the garlic and ginger, great smells coming through there. So, you know, we're cooking all that. It says stir frequently until soft. I think the onions are pretty soft at this point. We've had them in for a couple of minutes. Onions are pretty soft. At this point, I think we're going to add, I did ground turkey. Now the recipe says ground pork. I just generally use turkey a lot more often. The only thing I'm going to say is that turkey, I'm going to put the turkey in, my ground turkey, is that turkey doesn't have a lot of fat in it. So you may need to add, you don't want it to burn on the bottom of your pan. So you may need to add a little bit more olive oil just so it doesn't burn. Because if you're using ground beef or ground pork, it's going to be a little bit fattier. So you're going to have some natural fat juices in it. But turkey is extremely lean, most turkey. So we're going to, I'm just going to break up the turkey here. It smells awesome. I love the smell of garlic and ginger and onions. I do feel sorry for people who can't eat those foods at all. So I always tell people, especially for women and their hormones, garlic and onions are amazing liver support. So a lot of our hormones, you know, are affected by what's happening in our liver. So adding garlic and onions is great. Same for men. You know, all your hormones are detoxed through your liver. So any kind of liver support is great. Is great for you. So garlic and onions all the way. Ginger is a great digestive aid. Remember that. So adding fresh ginger to anything is definitely going to help with digestion. So we're going to let that cook for a second, about 7 to 10 minutes. Next we'll be adding in the coleslaw mix. Now I just bought a bag of cabbage. You can see here just a fresh, you know, bag of classic coleslaw mix. But I realized when I got home that I maybe didn't have quite enough. I said, because it said 6 cups. This may not be 6 cups, but I did have a cabbage in the fridge, so I am going to add extra cabbage in here as well. That's already in there. I just chopped it up. The other thing, which I had sent a message about earlier, was the bean sprouts, which are also called mung beans. It just comes in a package like this. I know I found these at Sprouts, and I know Amy was able to find them at Whole Foods right now. And that's really why it's called egg roll in a bowl, because it's really like when you eat an egg roll, it I don't know if you ever noticed the middle's like full of vegetables and cabbage and bean sprouts. This is just a healthier version without that fried outer coating. The other thing we're going to add, okay, so that's the next 2 vegetables we're going to add. Does anyone have any questions? Sarah, do you have any questions right now?
No, I'm good. We ground up our own sausage and put garlic in it and a couple of pieces of bacon.
Wow. Oh, well, you've got the fattier version then. Good for you.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, this doesn't take too long. And again, one of those things you can do with this recipe is if you have a larger family, this is for servings of 4. You can always double the recipe too. You could always add more. I think I have about 1.5 pounds of ground turkey in there, just because I have a 16-year-old son who eats a lot. So I'm always having to make double everything. Plus sometimes I just double it up because I you know, I just like having it for leftovers. The other thing, while we're waiting for that to cook, what I'll tell you a couple of things. The coconut aminos, a lot of people have never heard of this. It tastes a lot like soy sauce. It's a little bit sweeter. A couple of things I like about coconut aminos is that it is half the amount of sodium than regular soy sauce. So like 1 tablespoon it's still high, but it's got, so 1 tablespoon is about 500 milligrams of sodium, where soy sauce is about 1,000 per tablespoon. And we all know using 1 tablespoon is pretty much impossible. We kind of use more than that. So that's why I like it. The other thing, it comes from, it's fermented sap. Basically, it's fermented sap from the coconut palm tree. So anything fermented is actually really good to support your gut health as well. So it's just another flavoring, and most stores sell it now. So I do like it. It's also gluten-free, where soy sauce generally has wheat in it. So it is gluten-free, it's soy-free. So if you're sensitive to any of those things, it's a great alternative for you on that. What else? Oh, what I was going to tell you too about doing the extra. Sometimes what I'll do, and it's really easy to do with this recipe, is I will cook up just a whole bunch of ground turkey at the beginning of the week. I'll cook up like 4 pounds of ground turkey on its own, and I'll put that in the fridge. And then for lunch, I'll just, put the ground turkey in a pan and then add the vegetables with it afterwards. So it just saves you a little bit of time during the week if this is something you want to have for lunch. So let's see. Yeah, this turkey is actually doing okay. It didn't have a ton of fat in it, but we've actually got a lot of juices going on here. So you just want to keep breaking it up. Turkey is one of those meats that you do have to cook all the way through. I did have a client the other day who said that she didn't like the taste of ground turkey, but I think it's really, turkey is just going to absorb, ground turkey is going to absorb whatever flavor, whatever seasonings you put into it. So I think it's just, if it's just on its own, isn't a lot of flavor, but you can add anything, any flavoring to it. And again, this recipe is not spicy in any way, but if you want to add some sort of spice to it, some chili peppers, cayenne pepper, anything like that, to suit your taste, you could definitely do that as well.
I know I'm going to be adding for Ray, because he loves spicy. We have sriracha that's made with agave instead of regular sugar or corn syrup. So, and that flavor goes with like the egg roll part of it.
Right. Yeah. So you can definitely, as I do, add anything. And as I'm doing that, my son loves spice. So I'm sitting here thinking, what can I do in my spice drawer? This is one of my spice drawers. I have many, believe it or not, spice drawers. So I'm just looking at what I can add to add a little more spice for him. We do have a little bit of cayenne pepper in here, which he likes as well. These are some other spices that I've collected over the years. So we might add a little bit of that. Let's see, ginger. So we've got ginger in there. So we might just add a little bit just to give it a little bit of kick in it. And when I say cayenne pepper, I'm going to add just a little bit of cayenne pepper in there. And that's just going to get a little bit of heat. But other things that you could add, the other thing that would go really well with this too is sesame seeds, actually. Being on the more the Asian side of things, a lot of Asian dishes have sesame seeds. You could actually add sesame seeds too. That would be another option for you. So we are almost there. Sarah, if you're doing the zucchini, I would probably add the zucchini now.
All right.
Yeah, I would probably add it now because it's the meat, well, I know for me, is almost cooked. So I would probably add it now, and so it's not your zucchini is not going to become totally overcooked at this point. Okay, so the turkey's cooked when it's not red anymore. So we're going to give this like maybe another minute of cooking. Again, if you were to add anything else, zucchini, broccoli, cauliflower, any of those veggies, I would probably add it now. So it's going to steam a little bit. It depends how well cooked you like them. The other thing you could add too, if you wanted to add more protein to this meal, you could definitely add edamame as well, shelled edamame. So you're going to get some nice, like the organic edamame. Take those and add those. Shell them first. Don't throw the whole pod in there because you can't eat the pod. But I would do that, and that just would add extra protein, a vegetable, plant-based protein. Again, if you're making this as a vegetarian, I know we have a lot of vegetarians out there, the replacement would be you could do tofu. So you would do the same, you would just stir fry the tofu in there. You could do some eggs. You could do it as an egg type dish as well. So there's lots of different options for you, but definitely adding more protein. You could do the edamame as well, which would be, I wish we should have done that, but that we'll do that next time. That's a good idea. We'll do that next time. So what we're going to add now, my turkey is pretty much cooked. I see very little pink, and I don't want to overcook my turkey at all. So lots of great flavors going on there. So now we're going to stir in the coleslaw mix that we bought here. So you can start doing that. If your meat is not cooked, just give it another minute or two before you add everything. So we're going to add this coleslaw mix straight into the pan. This is about, for me, it says about 6 cups. This is about 4 cups. I looked it up for that. So I'm going to see how it goes with 4 cups. I'm going to stir that in. This cabbage, so coleslaw is just basically cabbage and some carrots. So it's gonna pretty much shrink down to almost nothing. It's kind of like spinach that way, where it'll shrink right down. So we've got that cooking, and then we're gonna add the 2 cups of bean sprouts. So I'm gonna kind of measure those out. So again, you can do more or less, totally up to you. So here's 1 cup of bean sprouts. We'll do 2 cups of bean sprouts in here. I know that looks a lot of veggies, but bear with me. My daughter's like, who's doing this video, is like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. I've never seen you make this. It's a lot of veggies, but bear with me. It's gonna it'll reduce down to probably half of that. So let's see. We're just gonna keep. So what you want to do is just kind of stir it all in, mix it together. So if you think about it, for all of you that struggle with vegetables, this is a great way to get a ton of vegetables in. I know it looks like a lot now, but it is going to shrink right down. And it's a great way to get a lot of vegetables in. It's kind of like the same, I always think with like spinach, is that you get a big bang for your buck, is that you could do like, when I cook spinach, it's like I'll do like 4 big handfuls of spinach and just steam it. And it like literally goes down, when you finish steaming 4 cups of spinach, it goes down to like 1/4 of a cup. So that's, so for those who struggle with their veggies, it's definitely a good option for you. So as you can see, this is definitely getting a lot smaller. Doesn't seem so overwhelming with vegetables now. How is yours doing, Sarah?
We're doing pretty good. My meat just about cooked, so I haven't added my coleslaw yet, but I also think I'm going to turn it more into a stir fry and put broccoli in it too. We need more veggies.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the good thing about this meal, is that you can definitely do like a ton of veggies in it, which is awesome. I said use the veggies you like. It's called egg roll in a bowl because literally this is kind of what they put inside an egg roll wrapper. But you can make it definitely into a stir fry on that. So this is looking really good. So now I'm going to also kind of reduced it down a lot. So now I'm going to add the coconut aminos. Again, this calls for a 1/4 cup of coconut aminos or soy sauce or tamari, whichever you have. I really like the Bragg's liquid aminos too. It is soy, but it's got a lot of flavor to it. So it says order to add 1/4 cup. So I'm going to pour out a 1/4 cup. I probably will end up, honestly, adding a little more because my kids like a lot of flavor and things. So we're going to add a little bit more. This is to taste, and you could wait and maybe do it after, like do what's required. And then once it's done, if you taste it, and if you feel like you need more, then just add more. All right, we're going to stir that up. The veggies are pretty soft. We're just going to stir it all together here. And the veggies are soft, and I think we've got a great meal here. We're all done. So this is your deconstructed egg roll. This is on here. The other thing you can do, like this is just a high protein veggie dish, is if you find someone in your family needs more, like this is maybe your goals are just having protein and veggies, but you know, you've got, like I said, I've got a 16-year-old son, a daughter, my husband will be like, oh, I need more. You could definitely serve this over some rice or quinoa as well. That would just make it a little more like, you know, have more carbs for them, for them as well. And that's it. So that's your super easy egg roll in a bowl. And I think that took us a whole of maybe 20 minutes, 20 at the most. I'm looking at the clock. Yeah, it probably took us from start to finish 20 minutes. So just a really quick, easy recipe for you to make when you get home from work. So any questions? Sarah, any questions, any suggestions, any feedback?
No. Can I share a couple of my favorite staple spices?
Yes.
So there's this one at Trader Joe's. It's chili and onion like oil, and it's chili flakes and onion flakes in just like oil, and they sell it in a jar. It's like $4, but that's always good. Like a little dollop of that in stuff. It gives it that spice, but it is in oil. And then we found this mushroom seasoning at this Asian food mart, and we found it at Trader Joe's, and it was umami. And we were looking for something much larger than what they sold, and so we went to the Asian food mart. And this mushroom seasoning, we checked the sodium. Okay, well, sodium's not like amazing, but it's not terrible.
Yeah.
And I feel it gives a lot, like instead of salt, I put this in stuff, and it gives it, I really like mushroom. So it gives it a little bit of that mushroom flavor as well as that salt that you're kind of looking for.
Yeah, so that's awesome. What you're saying about the Asian food stores, actually the Asian markets, like the Indian markets, the Chinese markets, any of those grocery stores, I will tell you, if you like spices, their spices are like a fraction of the cost of going and buying them at Sprouts or Whole Foods or even Kroger, because you can get like a big, I use a lot of coriander in cooking. So you can get literally a bag of coriander that's like, you know, a 3-pound bag for like $5. And if you're thinking about it, in the grocery store, you're buying a small little jar for the same price. Turmeric is another spice that we use a lot of. So that's, again, you can get it much cheaper at any of those Asian grocery stores. The closest one here, I'm in Allen, there is one up on 121 and Custer, that Target Plaza, the Target Plaza up there. There's a Lowe's, PetSmart, that plaza. There is a Asian grocery store up there, and they have a ton of bulk spices and also rice. Like if you're a person who uses rice, you can just buy it much cheaper up there. So yeah, definitely whatever your taste is, definitely add whatever spices you want to this recipe. So that's it. So hopefully you have a great dinner now, Sarah and Amy. I know you're going to make yours now, and you're probably starving.
Well, I eat later. I eat at like 8 o'clock.
Oh my gosh, that's way too late for me. I found since my kids have been home now, like I used to make it at like 6, and now they're like 5 o'clock going, where's dinner? I'm hungry. So
we're making it earlier and earlier.
Yeah.
I'll be hungry if I eat now.
Yeah. So that's great. Hopefully we'll do it again. I'll go through my recipe bank, and we'll definitely we'll do another one. Maybe we'll see how it goes, Amy, next week. We can do another cooking class, or just do some recordings as well.
Yep. All right.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks for joining, Sarah. And if anyone has any questions after seeing the video, just send me a note if they need some substitutions.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Cathy.
Thanks. Okay.
Bye.
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 Bye.